"Get away from here, you dirty boy. You're scaring my customers." The woman's voice cut through the afternoon heat like a blade. Austin stumbled backward, his small hands still reaching toward the tray of fried snacks displayed on her table. He wasn't trying to steal. He was just looking, hoping. His stomach had been empty since yesterday. "I said move." She waved her hand as if shooing away a stray dog. Austin's bare feet shuffled on the hot pavement. His shirt, 3 sizes too big and torn at the shoulder, hung on his 6-year-old frame like a flag of surrender. He didn't cry. He'd learned that crying made people angrier. So he just stood there, swaying slightly from hunger, and watched the woman turn her back on him. He walked away slowly. 1 foot, then another. The sun pressed down on his head. His vision blurred at the edges. Then he saw it. A small roadside shop. Just a wooden structure with a tin roof, painted blue and white. Smoke curled up from a grill where meat sizzled. The smell made his knees weak. A woman stood behind the counter, stirring a large pot. She wore a simple dress and a headscarf, and she was humming softly to herself. Austin stopped at the edge of her shop. He didn't go closer. He just sat down on the ground, cross-legged, and watched. The woman looked up. Their eyes met. She didn't shout. She didn't wave him away. She just looked at him. Really looked at him. "Hello, family. Welcome back. Before we go any further into this story, I have a small but heartfelt request. Please, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Your support is what breathes life into these stories. Through every view, every subscription, we're able to bring hope to children and women who need it most. Now let's continue." The woman set down her spoon and walked around the counter. She stopped in front of Austin, crouched down, and tilted her head. "When did you last eat?" she asked. Austin blinked. His throat was too dry to speak. She didn't wait for an answer. She stood up, went back to her shop, and returned with a plate. Rice. Stew. A piece of chicken. She placed it in his hands. "Eat," she said simply. Austin stared at the plate like it was a mirage. His hands trembled. Then slowly he began to eat. Not fast. Not greedy. Just grateful. The woman watched him for a moment, then went back to her work. When he finished, she noticed he hadn't touched the chicken. "You don't like it?" she asked. Austin shook his head quickly. "I want to take it home. To my mother." The woman's expression shifted. Something softened in her eyes. "Your mother?" He nodded. "She's sick. She can't walk anymore." The woman was silent for a long moment. Then she wrapped the chicken in paper, added more rice, and handed it to him. "What's your name?" she asked. "Austin. I'm Nora." She smiled, and it was the first kind smile he'd seen in days. "You can come back tomorrow, Austin. I'll have food for you." He looked up at her, eyes wide with disbelief. "I mean it," she said. "Come back." Austin ran home that evening, clutching the package of food like a treasure. Home was an unfinished building on the outskirts of the city. Concrete walls with no windows, no doors, just open spaces that let in the wind and dust. Inside, on a thin mat on the floor, lay his mother, Vivian. She was 32, but she looked older. Her face was gaunt, her lips cracked, her eyes sunken. Kidney failure was eating her alive, one day at a time. They had no money for treatment. No family to help. No hope. Except now maybe there was a sliver of it. "Mama," Austin whispered, kneeling beside her. "I brought food." Vivian's eyes fluttered open. She saw the package in his hands, and tears slipped down her cheeks. "Where did you get this?" she whispered. "A woman," he said. "Her name is Nora." Every morning, Austin woke before the sun. He would check on his mother first, make sure she was still breathing, still warm. Then he'd fold the thin blanket they shared, straighten the mat, and step out into the gray light of dawn. The walk to Nora's shop took 30 minutes. Past the abandoned construction sites. Past the morning market, where vendors were just setting up. Past the groups of men gathered on street corners, smoking and talking in low voices. Austin learned to walk with his head down. Invisible. But at Nora's shop, he became visible again. "There's my helper," Nora would say when she saw him coming. She'd hand him a broom, or ask him to arrange the plastic chairs, or help her carry water from the tap down the street. Small tasks. Simple work. And when the work was done, she'd feed him. Not scraps. Real food. A full plate. Sometimes she'd pack extra for him to take home, and Austin would guard those packages like they contained gold. "Why do you do this?" he asked her one morning, his mouth half full of rice. Nora paused, her hands busy chopping vegetables. "Because somebody did it for me once," she said quietly. When I had nothing, a stranger fed me. I promised myself that if I ever had anything to give, I would give it. Austin didn't fully understand, but he felt the weight of her words. 3 weeks passed like this. Austin coming every day. Nora feeding him every day. A rhythm. A routine. Something close to normalcy. Then one evening, Nora did something unexpected. "Take me to your mother," she said. Austin's eyes widened. "To our house?" "Yes. I want to meet her." The unfinished building looked worse in the fading light. Exposed concrete. Rusted rebar sticking out like broken bones. No electricity. No running water. Nora followed Austin through the open doorway, stepping carefully over debris. When she saw Vivian lying on the mat, her breath caught. The woman was skeletal. Her skin had a yellowish tint. Her breathing was shallow, labored. She tried to sit up when she saw a stranger, but her body wouldn't cooperate. "Please don't," Nora said quickly, kneeling beside her. "Don't try to move." Vivian's eyes filled with tears. "You're the one who's been feeding my son." Nora nodded. "My name is Nora." "Vivian." Her voice was barely a whisper. "I don't know how to thank you. I have nothing to give you." "Nothing to." "You don't need to give me anything," Nora interrupted gently. She reached out and took Vivian's hand. It was cold despite the heat. "I just wanted to see you. To know you're real. To know there's someone waiting for Austin when he comes home." Vivian closed her eyes, and tears rolled down her temples into her hair. Nora stayed for an hour that evening. She brought food. She brought water. She helped Vivian sit up and eat a few spoonfuls of soup. And before she left, she made a promise. "I'll come back," she said. "You're not alone anymore." Far away from that unfinished building, in another part of the world, Gabriel sat in a first-class airplane seat, staring out at the clouds below. He was going home. After 8 years abroad, building his tech company, making his fortune, becoming the kind of success story people wrote articles about, he was finally returning to Nigeria. But success felt hollow, because every time he closed his eyes, he saw her face. Vivian, the woman who had believed in him when he was nobody, who had scraped together her last bit of money to help him pay for his visa application, who had stood at the airport and told him, "Go, build something great, come back when you're ready." He'd promised to call her every week. He'd kept that promise for 3 months. Then his phone was stolen in a crowded metro station in London. He'd lost all his contacts, all his numbers, and by the time he'd tried to reconnect through mutual friends, everyone said the same thing. Vivian? She disappeared. No one knows where she went. He'd hired people to search, sent messages through old acquaintances, checked hospitals, government records, everything. Nothing. Now, 8 years later, he was coming home with wealth and resources. And this time, he wouldn't stop searching until he found her. The plane began its descent into Abuja. Gabriel looked out the window at the sprawling city below and whispered, "I'm coming, Vivian. I'm coming." If you haven't subscribed yet, I'd truly love for you to join our family. Hit that subscribe button and drop a comment letting us know where you're watching from. Your support means everything. Gabriel's convoy of black SUVs rolled through the streets of Abuja like a slow-moving storm. For vehicles, tinted windows, security detail, the kind of entrance that made people stop and stare. But Gabriel wasn't thinking about the spectacle. He was thinking about the mission that brought him to this part of the city, a charity outreach to underserved communities. His foundation had been funding schools and medical clinics across Nigeria, but he'd never personally visited the poorest neighborhoods. Until today. "Sir, there's nothing out here," his assistant said from the front seat, looking at the dusty roads and scattered shops. "We should head back to the city center. We can grab lunch at—" "No," Gabriel interrupted. "I want to see everything. The real Nigeria. Not just the polished version." They drove deeper into the outskirts, past crumbling buildings, past children playing in the dust, past women carrying water on their heads. Then Gabriel's stomach growled. He'd skipped breakfast. The hotel meal had looked too fancy, too wasteful, when he knew people in this city were starving. "Stop," he said suddenly. "Sir? Stop the car. I'm hungry." His driver pulled over near a small roadside shop. Blue and white paint. Tin roof. Smoke rising from a grill. The smell of grilled meat and spices drifted through the air. Gabriel stepped out of the SUV. His security team immediately tensed, hands moving toward their concealed weapons. "Relax," Gabriel said. "I'm just getting food." He walked toward the shop, and that's when he saw him. A small boy, maybe 6 years old. Skinny. Barefoot. washing plates in a bucket of soapy water behind the counter. The boy looked up, and their eyes met. Gabriel felt something shift in his chest. Something he couldn't name. "Good afternoon," Nora called out, wiping her hands on her apron. She'd seen the SUVs pull up and assumed it was some politician or businessman. Rich people sometimes stopped at roadside shops for the authentic experience. "Good afternoon," Gabriel replied, his voice warm. "What do you have?" "Rice and stew, grilled chicken, fried plantains. Everything is fresh." "I'll take the rice and chicken. Make it a large portion." While Nora prepared his food, Gabriel couldn't stop looking at the boy. Austin had gone back to washing plates, but his movements were slow, tired. His arms were thin as sticks. "That's your son?" Gabriel asked. Nora glanced at Austin and smiled. "No, but he's like a son to me. He helps me here every day." "What's his name?" "Austin." Gabriel walked over to where Austin was working. The boy looked up, nervous. "You're doing a good job," Gabriel said gently. Austin didn't respond. He just stared at this tall, well-dressed man who smelled like expensive cologne. "Do you go to school?" Gabriel asked. Austin shook his head. "Why not?" Austin looked down at the bucket. "My mother is sick. I have to help." Something cracked open inside Gabriel's chest. He turned back to Nora, who was plating his food. "His mother," Gabriel said. "What's wrong with her?" Nora's expression grew somber. "Kidney failure. She's very sick. They have no money for treatment. They live in an unfinished building not far from here. I've been feeding them, but..." She trailed off, shaking her head. "I can only do so much." Gabriel's food sat untouched on the counter. "Can you take me to her?" he asked. Nora blinked. "To their house?" "Yes. Right now." "Sir, I don't know if..." "Please," Gabriel said, and there was something raw in his voice. "I need to see her." Nora looked at Austin, then back at Gabriel. Something in his eyes told her this wasn't just curiosity. This was urgency. "Austin," she called, "take this man to your mother." The walk to the unfinished building felt like a journey through another world. Gabriel's security team followed at a distance, visibly uncomfortable with the surroundings. Austin led the way, silent and small. When they reached the building, Austin stopped at the entrance. "She's inside," he whispered. Gabriel stepped through the doorway. His eyes adjusted to the dim light. He saw the mat on the floor, the thin blanket, the bottle of water with barely any left. And then he saw her, lying on her side, her back to him, her breathing labored. "Vivian?" His voice broke on her name. The woman on the mat went completely still. Slowly, painfully, she turned her head. Their eyes met, and the world stopped. "Gabriel?" Vivian's voice was barely audible, a ghost of a sound. Her eyes, sunken and dim, widened with disbelief. Gabriel crossed the distance between them in 3 strides. He dropped to his knees beside her mat, his expensive suit collecting dust, and reached for her hand. It was cold. So cold. "Vivian," he whispered, his voice shaking. "Oh God, Vivian, what happened to you?" She tried to speak, but her throat closed up. Tears spilled down her cheeks instead. 8 years. 8 years of believing he'd forgotten her. 8 years of suffering alone. And here he was, kneeling beside her like an answer to prayers she'd stopped praying. "Sir, we need to move," one of Gabriel's security men said from the doorway. "We need to get her to a hospital. Now." Gabriel didn't hesitate. He slipped his arms under Vivian's frail body and lifted her as if she weighed nothing. She was too weak to protest, too shocked to do anything but rest her head against his chest. "Austin," Gabriel called over his shoulder. "Come with us. Now." The boy stood frozen in the corner, watching this stranger carry his mother away. "Austin!" Nora's voice broke through his paralysis. She'd followed them to the building. "Go with him. It's okay. Go." Austin ran. The hospital was a blur of white coats and urgent voices. "Female, early 30s, end-stage renal failure. Get her to ICU immediately. We need blood work, imaging, full kidney function panel." Gabriel stood in the hallway, his hands shaking, his shirt stained with dust and sweat. Austin sat on a plastic chair nearby, his small body trembling. Nora had come too. She sat beside Austin, her arm around his shoulders. "She's going to be okay," she whispered to the boy. "She's going to be okay now." But she didn't know if she believed it. 3 hours later, a doctor emerged from the ICU. His face was grim. "Mr. Gabriel?" Gabriel stood up so fast he nearly stumbled. "Yes. How is she?" The doctor glanced at Austin, then back at Gabriel. "Can we speak privately?" "No." Whatever you have to say it here. The boy deserves to know. The doctor sighed. She needs a kidney transplant. Urgently. Without it, she has maybe 2 weeks. 3 at most. The words hung in the air like an executioner's blade. How long is the waiting list? Gabriel asked. For someone with her blood type? Could be months. Could be years. And given her current condition. The doctor didn't finish the sentence. He didn't need to. Gabriel's jaw tightened. Test me. I'm sorry. Test me. Check if I'm a match. I'll donate my kidney. The doctor's eyes widened. Sir, do you understand what you're? I understand perfectly. Test me. Today. The results came back the next morning. Gabriel was a match. Not just compatible. A near-perfect match. It's almost miraculous, the doctor said, reviewing the test results. The odds of this kind of compatibility between unrelated individuals are... When can we do the surgery? Gabriel interrupted. We need to run more tests. Prep work. We're looking at a week, maybe 10 days. No. I want the best surgeons. I want it done in 3 days. I'll fly in specialists if I have to. I'll pay whatever it costs. Just make it happen. The doctor nodded slowly. I'll make the calls. That evening, Gabriel sat alone with Vivian in her private room. She was hooked up to machines that beeped softly, tracking her failing organs. She was awake now. Stable. The 4 fluids and medications had brought some clarity back to her eyes. You came back, she whispered. I never stopped looking for you, Gabriel said, his voice thick with emotion. When I lost my phone, when I lost your number, Vivian, I searched everywhere. I hired people. I called everyone we knew. No one could find you. I was ashamed, she said, tears sliding down her temples. When I found out I was pregnant, when I got sick, I had nothing, Gabriel. Nothing. I didn't want you to see me like this. Gabriel's heart stopped. Pregnant? Vivian's eyes drifted toward the door, where Austin sat in the hallway with Nora. He's yours, she whispered. Austin is your son. The machines beeped. The fluorescent lights hummed. And Gabriel's entire world rearranged itself. He stood up, walked to the door, and looked at the small boy sitting on the floor. The boy who'd washed dishes at Nora's shop. The boy with his eyes. His nose. His determined chin. His son. Gabriel walked over and knelt down. Austin, he said softly. I'm your father. Austin looked up at him with wide, uncertain eyes. And then slowly, he reached out his small hand. Gabriel took it. The surgery took 11 hours. Gabriel lay on an operating table in one room. Vivian lay in another. Between them, a team of surgeons worked with precision that bordered on artistry, transferring life from one body to another. Austin sat in the waiting room, his small frame dwarfed by the hospital chair. Nora sat beside him, holding his hand. Your father is very brave, she whispered. Austin nodded. He still didn't fully understand what father meant. But he understood that the man who'd found them, the man who'd lifted his mother like she was precious, was giving her something no money could buy. A part of himself. When Gabriel woke up, the first thing he felt was pain. Sharp, deep, radiating from his side. The second thing he felt was peace. The surgery was successful, a nurse told him, adjusting his 4. Both you and the patient are stable. You'll need to rest for several weeks, but everything went perfectly. Vivian? His voice was hoarse. She's in recovery. Doing well. The kidney is functioning beautifully. Gabriel closed his eyes and let out a breath he didn't know he'd been holding. 3 weeks later, Vivian walked. Not far, just from her hospital bed to the window. But she walked. Her skin had color again. Her eyes had light. The machines were gone, replaced by physical therapy sessions and medication schedules and hope. Gabriel recovered in the room next to hers. Against medical advice, he'd had the staff move their beds closer together so they could see each other through the doorway. They talked for hours. About the 8 years apart. About Austin. About how she'd sold everything to survive. How she'd ended up in that unfinished building. How she'd nearly given up. But Austin never did, she said one afternoon, her voice stronger now. Every single day he'd wake up and tell me, Mama, it's going to be okay. Even when I knew it wasn't. Even when I was ready to die, he kept believing. He's strong, Gabriel said. Like his mother. Vivian smiled. Like his father too. 1 month after the surgery, Gabriel did something he'd been planning since the moment he'd found Vivian. He got down on one knee. It was in the hospital garden, where Vivian was doing her daily walk. Austin was there, holding a small bouquet of flowers Nora had brought. The medical staff had gathered at a respectful distance, all of them invested in this love story that had unfolded in their halls. "Vivian," Gabriel said, his voice steady now strong. "8 years ago, you gave me everything. Your faith, your support, your love. You asked for nothing in return. And when I lost you, I lost myself too." Vivian's hands flew to her mouth. "I found you again because of a little boy's kindness. Because of a woman's generosity. Because somehow, against all odds, fate gave us another chance." He pulled out a small velvet box. "I'm not letting you go again. Marry me. Let me spend the rest of my life proving that I'm worth the faith you had in me." Vivian's answer came through tears. "Yes. Yes. 1,000 times yes." Austin ran forward, crashing into both of them, and they held him between them, this miracle child who'd brought them back together. But the miracles didn't stop there. Gabriel kept his promise to Nora. Within 2 months, she had a new apartment in a safe neighborhood. Her roadside shop was transformed into a full restaurant, Nora's Kitchen, with proper equipment, staff, and a grand opening that drew crowds from across the city. Gabriel also paid for her education, enrolled her in university, business management. "Why?" she asked him, overwhelmed, the day he handed her the acceptance letter. "Because you saved my son," Gabriel said simply. "You fed him when no one else would. You saw him when everyone else looked away. This isn't charity, Nora. This is gratitude." 6 months later, Gabriel, Vivian, and Austin boarded a plane. They were going abroad. To start fresh. To build a life in a place where Vivian could get the best post-transplant care, where Austin could go to the finest schools, where they could be a family without the ghosts of the past haunting them. But before they left, they visited Nora's kitchen one last time. Austin walked up to the counter, and there was Nora, wearing a clean apron, her face bright with pride. "Hello, my helper," she said, smiling. Austin climbed onto a stool and said the words he'd practiced with his father. "Thank you for seeing me." Nora's eyes filled with tears. She reached across the counter and took his small hands in hers. "Thank you for letting me." Years later, people would still tell the story. About a roadside food seller who fed a homeless boy. About how 4 SUVs pulled up one day. About how one simple act of kindness changed the destiny of multiple lives. Because kindness doesn't just return. It multiplies,